Welcome back, Focus Learners. Okay, let's dive right into this explainer because today we are looking at the actual foundational blueprints used by the world's highest achievers. We're going to unpack 7 essential and, more importantly, highly practical rules for wealth and wisdom that you can literally start applying to your own life today.
So I want you to picture this. Imagine 2 people starting out in life. They've got the exact same education, the exact same opportunities, and the exact same big dreams. Now, fast forward 10 years. One of them is financially free, super confident, and living life completely on their own terms. But the other? Well, they're still waiting for that perfect, right time to succeed. So what actually made the difference here? It wasn't luck, and it definitely wasn't raw intelligence or a sudden windfall of cash. No, their drastically different futures were determined entirely by the habits they chose to build every single day.
All right, let's jump into our first core pillar. Section 1. The mindset of success. Surround and elevate. This principle is all about how our environment, and specifically the people we surround ourselves with, fundamentally shape our ambitions and the boundaries of what we even believe is possible. I mean, have you ever noticed that if your friends constantly complain, you kind of start complaining too? Or if they make excuses, you slowly just accept excuses as normal? But hey, the opposite is totally true as well. Spend enough time around highly ambitious people, and suddenly your own goals get bigger. And here's the really great news. Your mentors do not need to be personal friends. You can actually borrow years of experience simply by swapping, say, 30 minutes of doom scrolling on social media for an audiobook or a podcast interview. Think about Warren Buffett for a second. The guy spends 80% of his day just reading. Every single hour you spend learning from these kinds of sources is a direct investment in upgrading your own mindset.
Which brings us right to our next section. Number 2, action and thinking time. Moving from knowledge to action.
You see, learning is just the first step, and there's a pretty stark truth we have to face here. Information without action is really just entertainment. So many of us consume endless motivational material and business courses, yet nothing in our lives actually changes. Knowledge only becomes valuable when it's applied. The trick is to start small, and absolutely do not wait for perfection. Your first business, your first major project, your first investment, it's not going to be perfect. And you know what? That is perfectly okay. By just taking action, you completely reframe failure. It stops being this permanent setback and becomes vital data that you gather through repetition. The folks who ultimately succeed aren't always the smartest in the room. They're simply the ones who absolutely refuse to quit experimenting and executing.
But to execute well, you really need clarity. And consider this for a second. The average person checks their phone over 100 times a day. Between notifications, emails, back-to-back meetings, and social media, modern life is just incredibly noisy. We are constantly, endlessly consuming information. And when your brain is totally overloaded by this constant static, it becomes nearly impossible for true creativity to spark. Creativity doesn't happen in the chaos, right? It happens when your mind actually has the room to breathe.
So I have to pose this question to you. Do you actually have thinking time? It's fascinating when you look at history. Some of the greatest ideas, like Charles Darwin's theories or Steve Jobs' massive product breakthroughs, those came during long walks. So I challenge you to deliberately create this quiet space for yourself. Go for a walk without your phone, or just sit down with a blank notebook and write down every single idea that comes to mind, without judging it. If you capture those small ideas in the silence, those are exactly the seeds that can compound into tomorrow's massive opportunities.
Moving right along, let's explore pillar number 3. Health and deeper purpose, fueling your ambition.
These are the absolute biological and motivational foundations required to elevate your trajectory and, crucially, sustain your long-term achievement. Notice how these physical actions directly map to mental benefits. Exercise improves your memory, reduces stress, and actually boosts creativity. Eating healthy food fuels better decisions throughout the day, and quality sleep directly improves learning. So the really crucial point here is that physical health isn't just about looking better in the mirror. It literally fuels and sharpens your cognitive performance. And you don't need some expensive gym membership or a flawless routine. Even just a 20-minute daily walk can drastically improve how you think. Bottom line, when your body becomes stronger, your mind absolutely follows.
And just as your body needs physical fuel, your ambition needs an anchor. Try shifting your goal. Instead of waking up and asking how to make more money today, ask yourself, how can I create more value today? Now, don't get me wrong, money is a fantastic reward, but it just isn't enough to keep you motivated when things get tough. If money is your absolute only goal, you're going to be tempted to take shortcuts.
But anchoring your work to a deeper, meaningful purpose, whether that's helping people learn, building better products, or supporting your family, that creates incredible resilience. Purpose gives difficult work actual meaning, and that is exactly what helps you push through the hardest challenges.
All right, let's shift our focus now to section number 4, work, life, and strengths, mastering your best.
We hear it all the time, right? People often say you have to strictly separate work from life. But a much better framework is this concept of alignment. Imagine waking up actually excited to build something meaningful. True success really isn't about escaping your work. It's about finding that alignment where your hard work is an enjoyable, integrated part of a fulfilling life. You work hard, you rest when you need to, and you spend quality time with loved ones. The takeaway here is don't chase some mythical, perfectly split balance. Instead, build a life and a career that you don't constantly feel a desperate need to escape from.
Now, achieving that alignment definitely requires a bit of a mindset shift. Think about what school teaches us. We're generally taught to focus on fixing our weaknesses, basically trying to become well-rounded and, honestly, kind of average at everything. But top performers, they do the exact opposite. They master their natural strengths. If you're highly analytical, become world-class at solving complex problems. If you're a naturally creative person, double down and create more. Confidence grows through competence, and competence comes from intense, focused practice. So double down on those innate strengths of yours and just delegate your weaknesses whenever you possibly can.
We have covered some seriously powerful rules today, so let's bring them all together into our final section, number 5, the power of consistency. Small daily actions.
Let's look at the ultimate success formula and see how this all builds together. Step 1, start with one single habit. Step 2, practice it consistently for years. Step 3, completely transform your future in 5 years. You see, success just isn't created in one dramatic overnight moment. It never is. A single habit won't change your life today, but a handful of smart habits practiced consistently over a 5-year horizon, that will completely rewire your reality. Extraordinary lives aren't made overnight. They're the direct result of ordinary actions compounding over time.
Which leaves us with this final, vital question. What choice will you make today? The person you are going to become 5 years from now is literally being shaped by the decisions you are making right at this exact moment. So don't wait for the perfect time. Pick just one habit today, whether that's setting aside 15 minutes to just think, listening to a new mentor on a podcast, or focusing in on your greatest strength, and start architecting your achievement. Are you going to keep waiting, or are you ready to start building?